Hey, it's Kendrick, and so today I have the pleasure of introducing my guest, who is Keith Wilson, the Director of Cybersecurity Education at AttackIQ, and he's going to tell us about the free cybersecurity training that they offer. Yes, free information security training. And so before we get started, Keith, if you will tell us a little bit about yourself and also anything else that you want to share that may be helpful, because once again, the purpose of this channel is to help people who are working in cybersecurity to advance their careers or land a job in cybersecurity. So Keith, turn it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, those are my people right there. I'd say that covers everybody that we teach at Academy is people that work in cybersecurity that want to learn more, or people that are new to the industry that are just starting to learn all about the world of cybersecurity. I've been in information security, cybersecurity now for 15 years. Started out at Internet Security Systems, which is no longer. They were acquired by IBM, and I've moved through several other vendors, large and small. Through then, I've worked in the EDR space. I've worked in anomaly detection, and now I'm in breach and attack simulation. When I came over to AttackIQ, it wasn't in this role at all. I actually worked in a role. For those that are new to cybersecurity or just technology in general, vendors have a role called a sales engineer, or an SE is short, because it can mean so many different things: a solutions engineer, solutions architect, evangelist. I've heard so many different terms for SE, right? But they're the technical half of the sales team. They're the people that run you through the proof of concept and all that stuff. And I always looked at that job as, not am I only here to show them how to use our product, I'm here to give them an education, whether they buy from me or not.
By the way, I like the SEs are the favorite people. I really love talking to the SEs. if we could get past the salesperson and just talk with the SE, I feel like you sell more products. I'm sorry.
That's the general consensus that I got. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my sales reps, but there were plenty of times where customers are just like, can he just go get us lunch while we hang out and do this thing? Because the sales stuff is needed, but having that tech talk is fun. Right?
Exactly.
That's what we're there for. That's what we geek out on, is the technology. So yeah, I was a sales engineer for AttackIQ right around a year and a half. And I'd started creating just a little bit of some internal training videos for our partners. I kind of have this philosophy: is if I have to answer the same question more than once, I try to find a faster, easier way to answer that question. In the case of working with partners, there were so many different questions, and the only way I could really teach them was to put together like a quick video class, which is what I did. From there, the pandemic hit, and our team we decided we need to shift our strategy a bit. So that's when we decided to open AttackIQ Academy. We also did it as a public good too. We knew a lot of people were facing being out of work or having to find new work in cybersecurity, right? Maybe they hadn't thought of it until they just lost their job. We knew there'd be a huge demand. Another thing that kind of drives me too is there's this talent gap in cybersecurity. Everybody knows about it. We hosted a poll on AttackIQ's LinkedIn page that asked about, what do you think the greatest threat to cybersecurity in general is? And one of the questions that we posited, or one of the options we posited on there, was the talent gap. And I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think there's like 37% of the people that responded agreed to that. And I mean, that is a real issue. If you don't have the people and the minds here to solve those big problems, it's a big deal, right? And we can't just delay putting that off and hoping people will find their way into cybersecurity. We need to give them as many options and resources as we can and get it in their face too. Even if they're just a little bit interested in cybersecurity, what we're putting out there may change their minds. My executives at the time had asked me to take what I did for this partner training and create, I think at the time it was 2 public facing classes. And then Benjamin Opal, who's also one of our instructors and another employee at AttackIQ, he teaches all of our purple teaming classes. He took over the purple teaming class for me on that one. I did the other two foundational classes, breach and attack simulation and MIBR attack. And while I was in the middle of creating those, because we saw what this would entail, right? This direction that we were going, they asked me to run AttackIQ Academy. So I did. It's something that I'd never done before. I mean, mean, I'd had light experience in education in the fact that I'd educated customers in a very similar manner that I do in AttackIQ Academy, but that's about it. I've had to kind of learn the educational side of it and also the director side of it too, right? This is a leadership position. I was given my own department and said, go build something. So I'm learning a lot with that too. And it's been fun. And I actually just did a Q&A for our Informed Defenders community. And that's a whole other thing we can talk about later. I think it's because of me being new to being an educator. I have a lot of empathy for other people that are very new to this career.
Now, one of the things that you use some terms that I don't hear thrown around as much in security: threat-informed defense. Of all the things I've heard a million times in cybersecurity, I don't hear very many people talking about that. I hear purple teaming more from SANS and a few other places, but threat-informed defense. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, threat-informed defense, purple teaming is a component of that. And there's a lot of overlap, right? When people talk about purple teaming, and they may be talking about threat-informed defense. But I think the two terms, for the most part, can be interchangeable. I kind of look at threat-informed defense in 3 or 4 different areas. You have like your threat intelligence. You have MIBR attack, which is a form of threat intelligence, but it really is a category on its own, right? Then you have breach and attack simulation. You could toss red team tools in there as well, although there's a difference between breach and attack and red teaming tools, but you could toss those in there as well. And then you have purple teaming. Purple teaming, the way I think of it is it's a structure, it's a process, right? It's a practice. And when you combine it with those other 2 things, it's threat-informed defense. Now, when most people are talking about purple teaming, they're really talking about threat-informed defense. They're including they're not separating those other things like I am. Yeah. Now, and the term threat-informed defense actually came from MIBR too. You know, speaking of free cybersecurity education, if you get the chance, MIBR has a pretty sweet program as well that they run through Cybrary. I don't know what the cost on that is. I believe the classes are all free. The certifications you got to pay for or something like that. Highly recommend that. I've talked to those guys that developed that program and stuff. And personally, you know, you and I were talking about lack of time with this new role that I have. I haven't had a time to go in there and really sit down and digest the course. I think I've gotten through one of them. They've got multiple, and I've seen a lot of people doing the badges. They speak a lot about threat-informed defense, but they're a portion of it.
Now, when you said the badges, could you elaborate on those?
That's MIBR's program, right? So
okay.
I don't know specifically what they have for badges.
I thought you have some kind of badges or something that you get from your platform.
We do offer badges. So let's talk about that a little bit before I go off talking about how great MIBR is. Your very first step, if you haven't done it yet, is to register. Go to academy.attackiq.com, put in your info, free account. That's it. You look to your email, you'll get just like any other account you sign up for. We don't charge for anything on there. We never plan on charging for courses. We plan on keeping that material free. We really don't have intention on charging for anything at this point. Once you're in, take any one of the 3 foundational courses first. Any one of them. Foundations of breach and attack simulation, foundations of purple teaming, or foundations of MIBR attack. Whatever is going to interest you the most, whatever you think is going to hook you into threat-informed defense the most.
Okay. And with those classes, what is the estimate as far as time for completion of those different classes?
The estimate on completion for foundations of purple teaming and foundations of operationalizing MIBR attack, I believe, are an hour and a half. That's including instruction, plus we pad it with a little bit of time because we're assuming you're following along with the labs as well. The foundations of breach and attack simulation is a 2-hour course. And that's because the labs are a little bit more intricate in the fact that we give you access to our platform. We give you access to the AttackIQ platform, and we walk you through how to use just some basic things just to understand how breach and attack simulation works.
Are these classes on demand?
They're on demand whenever you want to sit down and take them. When we first launched Academy, we were doing them all with a live remote instructor called a VILT, virtual instructor-led training. But man, is that a time suck. And it's not fair to all these students around the world. We had people showing up to our classes, these live classes that we were teaching. It was like 1, 2 a.m. where they're living, and they're showing up to our classes, which is, don't get me wrong, like that's a huge honor for me. But at the same time, I don't want to make somebody stay up till 1, 2 a.m. to just come to a class. So we quickly worked to flip a switch and get as much on demand as quickly as we could. Now we do all of our classes on demand. We will be returning to do live courses, but they will be live in-person trainings that we'll do in different cities.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, cool.
That's kind of a little bit of an exclusive for you too. I don't think we've really talked about that to anybody yet.
Well, appreciate that. So those in-person courses, will they be free?
So in-person courses, I can't say a whole lot about those yet because they're still being planned. Those most likely will have a cost to them, but the cost is so small that you're going to get back whatever you paid you'll get back in materials. Forget about the education that you get back in materials as well. We're doing it just to set a low bar, right? That way, because what would happen is if we offered it for free, we'd have hundreds of people register and nobody would show up.
Yeah,
and
see, that's where I was going. A handful
of people would show up.
Yeah, see, we did that with some other organizations. We started charging people just to make people have a little skin in the game.
Yep, and that's exactly what it is. Whatever we decide to charge will be a very nominal fee.
Okay.
And it's really just to, Academy isn't designed to be a profit center. It isn't. We didn't set it up to try and make money.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is, like I said, it'll be a nominal sort of gate, right? Just to make sure, like, oh, you are serious about coming to this.
Gotcha. And so, as you mentioned, there were two components you were covering on. We got sidetracked a little bit. I'm sorry about that, but you were covering the third component of the training aspect. So you said there were 3 classes. You had covered 2 of the classes.
Yeah,
and there was a third one.
That's the Foundations of Breach and Attack Simulation class. That one's 2 hours long. That one you actually use our product a little bit in.
Okay.
And I mean, the course itself isn't about our product. It's about breach and attack simulation in general. What is it? What can you do with it? How do you determine what makes, what you want in a breach and attack simulation tool? Because there's several of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, because we are a breach and attack simulation company, or we have a breach and attack simulation platform, we're able to let students use that as part of the class. And that's on demand as well. So when they get to that portion of the class, they request a lab, information gets sent to them, they're able to log in and use the tool and walk through the guide.
Okay. Now, as far as this is the thing, because I would love to be able to showcase some of this on my channel, but it's training. So if you can think of any way that I can kind of like showcase portions of it or talk about it, besides this video is to kind of help put it out there for people looking for free training. But I also would love to be able to show some examples or maybe even a little bit more, kind of show them and help them understand what they're looking at. So is that even possible with the platform? Because I know the material probably is copyrighted at this point. So,
I wouldn't say just go in and show people the videos, right? What I would find best, how about you go through one of the courses?
Okay.
Come back to me with a list of questions from one of the courses or topics that you want to dive into more.
Okay.
And I'll do a one-on-one training session with you.
Oh, that's dope. That is dope. Okay.
So we'll do that for your viewers, and you'll be able to go through whichever class you want. Let me take that back. You have to go through a class that I did because I can't teach to Ben's classes. So you'll either have to do Foundations of Purple Teaming or Operationalizing MIBR Attack. Foundations of Operationalizing MIBR Attack.
Okay, and that's perfect. Because what I'm actually going through that transition period right now, it becoming more purple, right, from blue to purple, and so it's absolutely perfect timing for me. So I'm honored to be your
start with the MIBR Attack one. I think that's going to be the best one to kind of get you in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go through that. We'll get some thoughts together, and then as we go through some of the other classes too, I can talk to some of our other instructors like Ben and Jose and see if we can get them to come on and do the same thing.
Well, I'll tell you, so on the MIBR attack side, and not to just really focus on MIBR, but it's a component of what you're teaching, right? It's almost like you got 4 pillars.
It's a very big component of what I'm teaching. And
I'll be honest with you, I feel a little bit ashamed because I know about the MIBR attack. But I don't study it, and I don't really take the time to apply it and use it the way it's supposed to be.
You want to know a secret?
What?
I was the exact same way
until
I created that class. Creating that class is what taught me how valuable MIBR Attack is as a tool. And like you and I were talking when we were getting set up tonight too, where I was mentioning, kind of the best way to learn something and solidify that learning is to teach it.
Yes. Well,
that's how I learned. I knew what MIBR Attack was, but that's how I learned how to use it was teaching that course.
And is this free for enterprise level customers like my company? It's literally free for everybody?
Free for everyone. Are you talking about the training or MIBR Attack? The answer is yes.
No, the training. Because so here's the I'm telling you exactly what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking that my team at work, right? So I'm always dragging them into this kind of stuff, right? CTFs and stuff like that to pull them outside of their daily job, right? Because it's like it's so easy to kind of get lulled into that sense of false security because you're doing the same type of maintenance routine every day,
Right.
and you're not really actively, processing alerts or prosecuting alerts. I would say more so, and looking for threats and stuff like that. You're not really doing it. You're just kind of doing this maintenance, right? This corporate maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would absolutely love, and I know my manager go crazy about this because he's literally, so for him, he's very big on trying to figure out good products for us to be able to track our IOCs and like, well, how did this attack happen? Well, kind of defining, identifying things that we're finding as we're working through our daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
And so, God, I wish I could think of the tools. There's certain tools out there, but we haven't found a good one that wasn't, I guess, maybe a ridiculous amount like ServiceNow to be able to take these things and then to take the MITRE ATT&ck frame. Is it framework? MITRE ATT&ck framework? What is
MITRE ATT&ck framework. It's a framework.
And so we don't have a tool right now that we were able to go through and everything that we find to be able to categorize it using the MITRE ATT&ck framework. So that's been a biggie for us. So I know he would love to get our team involved with it. So I'm definitely going to hit you up after this and see if we can go through it. If I can get my team scheduled, maybe for one of our range days or something like that. We usually block out 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean, have them just hop on, take the class. They can take it anytime.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So just have them hop on, take the class, learn what the basics of what MITRE is. Now, what's cool is once you're done with those foundational classes, those kind of unlock the rest of the courses for you. Once you're done with the foundations of operationalizing MITRE ATT&ck, you can start taking all these other courses that we teach on MITRE ATT&ck. Same thing with foundations of purple teaming. You can start taking these other purple teaming courses and BAS as well. You can take more advanced courses once you knock those foundational blocks out of the way. And MITRE has some really cool projects that they put out through, it's called the Center for Threat Informed Defense. Are you familiar with Center for Threat Informed Defense? Have you heard of them before?
I've heard the term or heard but I don't know much about them.
AttackIQ, and this is AttackIQ giving back to the community, right? So AttackIQ is a founding research partner. So we give money and we give people to help with all these different CTID or Center for Threat Informed Defense projects. And it's us, some major banks, bigger, big corporations, other large vendors like Microsoft and stuff like that. You'll see are different sponsoring members of the CTID, and they actively participate in these different projects that come up. So we publish courses on most of those projects. As they're coming through, we have a really good line of communication with MITRE Ingenuity, which helps me out, right, when we're building these classes. So we have people on our team that are involved with these projects, and we have communications with MITRE, and we're able to build classes so that as soon as that project's released by the CTID, we can tell you what to do with it. Right. We did it with Fin6 emulation plans. We did it with menu pass emulation plans. We did it with mapping NIST to MITRE ATT&ck.
So hold that. Explain that, because remember there are people who are watching this channel. They're like, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So if you can just expound just a little bit on what those are.
Yeah. Let's back up a bit then.
Yeah.
So MITRE, famous for MITRE ATT&ck, has the CTID, and they create these projects. So I mentioned one, Fin6 emulation plans. So Fin6 is a financially motivated threat group. That's their classification is Fin6. I don't know a ton about them.
I would say they're pretty much legendary. Fin6 is legendary at this point, right? So
yeah, I mean they're well known.
Yeah,
they're definitely well known. Obviously, otherwise MITRE wouldn't have put the resources on this. So what they did was they put this plan together, and it's open source. All these projects are open source. They're all in the MITRE's GitHub. So they created an emulation plan where they've taken all of these years of research. I think it was somewhere between 4 and 6 years of research on Fin6 specifically, put it together, and they said, here's how Fin6 behaves in a network. I'm going to teach you how to emulate that. You can use that to do purple teaming, right? Because you can take that threat intel and you can go, okay, we're going to behave like them. When you catch us, we're going to find out how you caught us. We're going to modify that. And then we're going to come at you again like them, but a slightly different version to see if you catch us again. So, MITRE took a lot of this attack information and research that they've done with that specific to Fin6 and consolidated it into this great project. They did the same thing with Menu Pass, another group, another threat group. there's another project that they did where they mapped the NIST 853 control set. So that's another thing too,
Yeah.
right?
What is that? NIST?
Yeah. NIST
I
853.
know what
So
NIST is, but I have no idea what the control set is.
yeah, so I'm not a compliance guy
Uh-huh.
by any means. I never have been. It's never really interested me. Audit and compliance has never really been my thing. It has a lot to do with that, right? NIST 853 is a standard compliance thing for, I believe, government, right?
Yeah.
But it spans out to multiple businesses. Well, people want to know, well, how do we map these controls to the MITRE ATT&ck framework? How does this make sense? So the
And
Center for Threat Informed Defense did it.
and NIST stands for National Institute of
Standards and
Technology. Okay, gotcha. Okay. And they're basically, I think, it's not just really cybersecurity. NIST makes like standards for just about anything when it comes from, I guess, networking and all kind of.
Here's a cool thing that most people don't know exists is the NIST NICE framework.
Nice. Okay.
And that's actually for mapping skills to jobs in cybersecurity. It is specific. Okay. It's a specific definition and mapping of different skills and tasks and things like that are associated with different roles in cybersecurity. I think it's awesome. I just discovered it a few months ago. And I'd love to be able to start implementing those sort of things into our training and academy, where we can say, well, according to the NICE framework, this class checks the box on these tasks, which could get you this job, right?
Okay.
So yeah, NIST has a whole bunch of different stuff, and it, like you said, not even in cybersecurity. It's everything from thread length on a bolt to whatever.
Okay, so any technology or most technologies, I guess. So tell me, I want to make sure I get this in. Okay, so we're at 25 minutes, but the thing is, with taking these classes, right? And I should have asked this with some of my previous interviews, right? If I take this class, at the end of these classes, what am I going to know? What skills am I going to have, and how will they be applicable? I guess that's the best question.
So if you were to take every class that we have right now and every class we're ever going to put out, we're preparing you for a job role that is just now starting to exist. And that's called the Director of Threat Informed Defense.
Okay.
So we're preparing you for a role that's doesn't really exist yet, because teams, groups, security enterprises need to adopt this threat informed defense mentality before that exists. Well, in order to adopt it, people have to know what it is and how it works. So what we're teaching you is how to make better decisions about your security program based on existing research, based on threat information that is specific to you. Things that are targeted, maybe not exactly specific to you in the sense of MITRE ATT&ck, but maybe you pay for a threat feed that is much more specific to you. Maybe your threat feed includes things from your threat intel team that is very specific to you, right? So we're teaching you how to take that information and make good, better decisions with it. So you don't go, well, I'm most likely to get attacked by a group that's going to use a watering hole attack. I'll slow down there for people that are new. Watering hole attack is when I infect or hack a website that I know my victim normally visits with the intention of getting them to visit and get, they're going to the watering hole.
It's kind of
the water's
concept.
Poisoned.
Yeah.
So, that's a watering hole attack. I forget where I was going.
I was thinking, well, it's kind of so basically, and I'm assuming that concept is basically you thinking of the watching the wild shell. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. So you're not going to go. You're not going to go, well, how can I prevent a watering hole attack? The people that are attacking you are using phishing, right? You're not going to look for Mimikatz when, that pretty much every threat group's running Mimikatz, but you're not going to spend your time focusing on Mimikatz if for some reason you don't have a threat group that's using that, right? That's probably not the best example. But the idea is we're trying to help you figure out where to focus your resources, right? In a controlled manner, in a documented manner, in this new world of security, right?
Because
we're trying to keep up with evolving threats.
Well,
we're trying to keep up with evolving threats, but here's the thing: most of these threats aren't evolving. They do the same. They have a job just like you and I. And like we were just talking about this a couple of minutes ago. You're doing that day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
You're not learning new things. These people that are pulling off these attacks are regular people too. This is their job. They're doing the same thing, right? Because it's easy. They know it works. So what do? We look at history and we go, well, statistically, they're most likely to come this way. Let's make sure you're prevented that way. And we'll start there and really expand your security program from there.
Okay. Now for the new people coming in, so right now you said this is targeted for people who are going for a position that doesn't exist. But for somebody who's watching this video, they say, well, I'm not even in the field, or I'm a newbie in the field. I'm not gonna be a director of anything.
What's it gonna do for
How does
me?
it apply? Yeah, what does it do for them?
Yeah, so it's going to help you understand how a SOC runs better. Well, maybe not how it runs, but it's going to help you understand what people are talking about when you're working on a SOC or in a blue team. I start talking to the red team side of it, but let's be honest. Most people that are starting in security are not going to be on a red team.
No.
That is not a normal.
The learning curve is so high, so steep.
But you may be on a blue team, right? You're going to be interacting with a red team. That common vocabulary is MIBR attack. That's where all your threat intel is tied together. You need to learn how to speak that language to all of these other people so that they understand, what you're talking about. And so that you know what they are talking about so you can continue to learn and build your career. Now, what you're establishing from the very beginning in your career with doing this is a practice. Instead of just willy-nilly security, you're establishing early on, even if it's just a personal practice, right? Let's be honest, in a lot of security departments, the person that's hired, doesn't matter how new they are, is wearing hats for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you're going to want to put some sort of process, some sort of procedure, something around that to manage yourself. This is going to help you with that because you'll be able to see, okay, this is, even if this change, say you're on a security team of 50, even if this change just starts with me, I have an understanding of how this works. We can talk about it and expand, right?
Yeah.
The thought of threat-informed defense and purple teaming is so new that what we're teaching isn't done everywhere yet because people are still learning it. But it gives you a very solid foundation for doing security the right way.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Well, anything else that you want to focus on specifically? So we're at about 31 minutes on the video. And once again, as we talked about, we'll kind of do the training and we can maybe come back with some specifics on it. But anything else for that you think might be helpful, or any other thing about the Academy that may be beneficial for anybody who's viewing this video?
Yeah, I mean, really just sign up, go register. It's, completely, we talked about it, free cybersecurity training. Go register. You have absolutely nothing to lose. The classes, we keep them short. And I mean, they're in digestible videos. So you don't have to sit down for a full hour and a half if you don't want to. You can sit down for 30 minutes at a time and finish the class that way.
Yeah.
We're going to give you badges when you finish the classes. We offer digital badges through Credly. So particularly when you're new to the industry, this lets future employers know, or, recruiters know, this person has been trained. They know what they're doing. Right. And they can go back, and AttackIQ Academy has made quite the industry name for itself. So, those credentials, although they don't hold a ton of weight, they hold some weight. They're helpful. We give those to you for free. You get certificates for free that'll have continuing professional education units with them, so that, whatever governing body you have to submit those to, you give them that certificate and say, here's my CPEs for this. If you're an ISC squared member, which I suspect most of your newer people in cybersecurity aren't, but if you're an ISC squared member, we will automatically submit those CPEs to ISC squared on your behalf. So every week I go through and I pull a report of all my ISC squared members, and I send off their CPEs to ISC squared, so that it just helps them, maintain their CISSP or whatever it is that they have from ISC squared. With less work. You don't have to submit it, we do it for you. So, education is obviously number one, right? We want to have fun, interactive learning experiences for our users, but at the same time, we also want to give you goodies wherever we can, right? And you'll see we do contests on our social media and stuff like that, pull people into our informed defenders community, but education's our main focus. We're going to keep giving you free education. Take the classes, you got nothing to lose. Just maybe a little bit of time, but you're going to gain some knowledge in the process.
Oh, Keith, man, I'll be honest with you. You've inspired me. I'm going to take the classes. I'm going to make sure I lock down and get a firm, get my understanding of MIBR so that I can turn around and then be able to teach that and these other concepts on my channel, just kind of in smaller, not full courses, but just in smaller chunks so that other people can digest it and maybe get caught, by take the bait and hopefully drag them into some formal training. But man, I'm looking forward to sitting down with you soon. I'm going to get my team in here. Thank you for coming on the channel. Thanks to AttackIQ for being so responsive, because the social media manager and everybody, they really did a great job of hooking me up and getting me connected to you. You know what I'm saying? So they were immediately engaged. So I've been very, very impressed with your company. And you're a startup at this point, right? You still considered a startup, or are you?
Yeah, we're still a startup.
Yeah.
We just got our Series C of funding, but
Okay,
yeah,
good deal.
We're still definitely a startup.
Hey, that's a big one. That Series C is the big boy.
It is.
So,
it is. I've been at companies at all stages. Series C feels a little bit more comfortable than B.
Yes, and then don't you have D and E after that, right? Series D and then E.
I've been in D, E, and probably even F companies before. I've also been at companies before, from like angel round investing. So I've run the gamut. And AttackIQ really is a great company, not just to buy from, but to work for. And as you saw too, like our social media manager Alexis is great, and they know that I like getting out there and talking to people like yourself. So I was very happy that they put me in touch with you, and I'm looking forward to coming back.
Well, Andrew Black said, I love these live chats. Right quick, any questions from the chat? So we got a few people hanging out today. They got a chance to see us live. So Andrew, thank you for coming by the channel. But anything that you want to ask before he goes? Don't forget also, if you want to connect with him, or at least tweet at him, you can connect to him. He's Detected Anomaly on Twitter. Okay, so Detected Anomaly. Feel free to reach out to him or tweet at him, or you can tweet me and I'll try to hook you up and ask anything that you need. So, but if nothing else, thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to leave the stream going. I'm going to stop the recording, but the stream will be going for a second. So for all of you that are watching the YouTube video, don't forget to drop a like on this video. I'm really bringing you some awesome people who are changing my life, and I hope changing your lives and give you opportunities. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is all about cybersecurity, or information security for the algorithm. Information security. Information security.
Did you hear that, Google? I said information security.
Exactly.
Write it down.
All right. Thanks for watching.